Nvidia made a significant resurgence. Apple, which is currently, in my opinion, unquestionably leading the market cap battle, did, in fact, continue to show off their strength. Then, although today is an exception, we've seen tiny caps struggle more than some may have anticipated. In this market, which has greater sway, both are significant, and they represent various investor perspectives. You still desire to own the greatest businesses and the most significant themes, in my opinion. Apple and Nvidia, after all, will put in a lot of effort during any cycle. There are significant tailwinds for cyclical equities, and small caps in particular, when the market starts to think the Fed will push rates back toward neutral, which includes cost of money, mortgage, and auto loan rates. Therefore, I believe that this is the reason I would still like to place a highly informed wager that tiny caps have a strong chance of performing exceptionally well over the course of the next 12 months, and possibly even until the end of the year. It has been a long time since we discussed your granny shots. Please remind us of your reasoning for liking some of these stocks. Our first granny shot model examined AI, cybersecurity, energy security, and, millennials as a generation. Granny shots is based on the notion that there are themes like multi-secular drivers of an economy. The granny shots in companies like Nvidia and Apple truly started because we want to buy the greatest stocks in those themes. Since 2019, Nvidia has been listed there. Therefore, I believe that it's always crucial for investors to locate the finest firms and hang on to them for the duration of the cycle, rather than trading the top names. Alok, nice reminder. I'd appreciate you being here, Tom Lee. Thank you. Despite a difficult period following the release of its data in mid-August, Nvidia's stock is up around 15% this week. Joseph Moore, a senior semiconductor analyst at Morgan Stanley, is here with us now to discuss the firm and the industry. I would also like to know what happened this week, Joseph. What is driving the stock's momentum in either direction? Yes, I believe that what transpired during the last few weeks surprised me more than anything else. The quarter was excellent, Before Nvidia started doing it a year and a half ago, they were ahead by $2 billion. Although I am aware that they are struggling with expectations and raised some concerns about the gross margin, I was taken aback by the sell-off. This is our first choice. There is a lot of demand right now. Therefore, it's crucial to concentrate on these kinds of product cycles and similar things. We want to see the corporation follow through on that. But Jensen told us at a conference this week that the main concern is just the company's strength. Many important executives on the customer side have told us how dedicated they are to these workloads. Thus, this is still, in my opinion, a really interesting story. I'm not sure why it was down so much last week, and I'm not sure why it went up this week, so I was a little confused. However, the stock is fairly priced and has excellent future development prospects. Will Hopper's gross margins be higher than Blackwell's? Perhaps a little, I believe. I believe that at one time when the product was introduced in March, they talked about some price points on CNC, which is a little out of the ordinary. Their main concern, in my opinion, is can we continue to deliver value? Can we keep expanding the market? Furthermore, I believe that they are likely more concerned with that than the finer points of gross margin. In the upcoming quarters, which is essentially only the beginning of that, there will be some pressure here. There will be low yields at first, but we're scaling it up. I believe they have stated that the gross margins will remain comparable during the entire life cycle. However, they are also broadening their product line. They will be selling an ND-Link switch and a CPU with Grace with these racks. Many of the products they offer may have slightly lower gross margins, so next year's gross margins will be reduced by roughly 1%. Considering the strong operating margins and the amount of operating leverage, I don't think it's a huge concern. However, it is a little lower. Thus, I believe the answer to your question is yes. However, that doesn't alter the fact that the gross margins remain high. Naturally, Larry Ellison's remarks on that Oracle conference call and everything that emerged from the Oracle data, as well as Jensen Huang's remarks at Goldman and the Oracle exclusive interview outside of the White House doors, led to this return to AI. Microsoft also gave presentations at Communicopia and Goldman Sachs, focusing heavily on artificial intelligence and all of its opportunities. So, do you consider yourself more of a believer? You have been doubtful. No, I have never doubted AI's ability to revolutionize the world. What it will mean for society as a whole is what I have been and still am worried about. I have no doubts about what will ultimately transpire there. Divergent opinions are still present. One is more held by the Sequoia camp, which we all began discussing earlier this summer with Sequoia's initial report. In that report, Sequoia asked questions about the return on capital from all these large investments, whether or not it would eventually find its way into apps, and how this would all work out from a value proposition. However, I'm not skeptical about whether or not this will change everything. You're not, Jim? Good. As you are aware that I haven't been, Jensen says things like, "This has been alcohol for, 18 months, and it's supposed to cure cancer, and it's entertaining. I mean, does it cure cancer?" I ask myself. And then you say, that's not the point. Pausing for a moment. The goal is to obtain data instantaneously that would otherwise take years to compile. That's nice. Recent instances where doctors were still able to identify cases of breast cancer more accurately than AI at the time raised doubt, without a question. However, the situation is current. As he told me, he has no concerns about Nvidia's performance. His only concern is the amount of money that will be spent. Ellison from Oracle now declares that the expense will be incalculable due to the need to stay up with neural networks. The expenditure never stops. It's similar to what they construct. That is one of the main questions. Sequoia, at least, has accepted the notion that there will come a day when it will be essentially finished. The cost of GPUs will be reduced. All the data will be processed. Generative models and huge language models will be partially but substantially complete, and you will go to the next stage. However, value won't always be generated by the people operating the models. Isn't that correct? However, I do believe that one of the things, such as what Tesla is discussing, is how to create truly autonomous vehicles and robots. Some of the applications are similar to the chemistry course you took, which I was able to drop because I knew it would negatively impact my transcript. I realized that this was about attempting to accomplish fundamental rather than applied. Jensen is handling the fundamentals, while Elon is doing the applied, which is extensive, and by chips too, which leads us to yesterday's White House appearance when Jensen Huang discussed AI and the national rollout. Our Megan Casella caught him up on the extent of the public-private relationship with the government. Listen to it if you missed it. We've got to make sure that everybody understands the needs coming, the opportunities of it, the challenges of it, and do it in the most efficient and scalable way we can. Of course. Do you believe that the federal government should play a part in this case by combining private and federal investment? Well, given the extremely rapid growth rate, public-private cooperation is most likely going to be required in this field. Even while teaching artificial intelligence requires a lot of energy, using the model is ultimately more important than training it. Therefore, it saves a lot of energy when it is used. Covered a large area. Yes, you see, that's quite fascinating. Using and training. That's just so crucial, you know. They have more inference than training, although I believe Lisa Su at AMD is the best. The fact that you have this enormous list of embedded items is what counts. There are 7 chips on a Blackwell when you acquire an Nvidia chip. We must truly understand that it is a supercomputer weighing 8 pounds. People simply say, oh, it's put them all together and you get. And that's what you get. So we need to stop calling it a chip. And of course, returning to Ellison's remarks, we also discuss them on a daily basis. Power usage,